Commemorate and comment on the attack on the U.S. Capitol a year ago when supporters of President Trump erected a gallows for then Vice President Mike Pence at the scene. After police and National Guard cleared the area and lawmakers met to certify the election, Pence spoke.
To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today, you did not win. Violence never wins. Freedom wins. And this is still the people's house.
It's set to be a somber day at the Capitol. President Biden is set to give a speech from Statuary Hall, and congressional Democrats have planned events, including a moment of silence. But no members of Republican leadership are expected to attend. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
In excerpts released by the White House, President Biden in his remarks will ask, are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm? Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn the legally expressed will of the people? Children 12 to 17 are now recommended to get the Pfizer COVID booster shot, says the Centers for Disease Control. This region is taking new steps, says ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi.
Employers in Los Angeles County will soon be required to provide medical-grade masks like the N95 to anyone working indoors. It comes as a testing site in Los Angeles confirms a case of so-called Flurona, someone infected with both the flu and COVID.
Chicago's school leaders canceled classes in the nation's third largest school district for the second straight day today, failing to reach an agreement with the teachers union over remote learning and other COVID safety protocols. Russia putting together a military force to try to stop unprecedented deadly mass protests in the former Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan. And there were two big Powerball winners with all the numbers from last night's drawing. Last night, say lottery officials. You're listening to ABC News.
On our first date, we had masks on and kept 6 feet apart. Now, we're a lot closer.
Just like Cliff and Deb, thousands of singles over 50 found their perfect match on Silver Singles last year.
I feel like I'm 20 years old again, and I'm pretty sure she feels the same way.
Rediscover the magic of dating with Silver Singles, the exclusive community for singles over 50. Sign up today and receive daily matches you won't want to miss at silversingles.com/radio. silversingles.com/radio.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
More in the Powerball drawing last night. One winning ticket was sold in Wisconsin, the other in California, splitting the jackpot of more than $632 million. If the winners take the cash option, each ticket is worth $225 million before taxes. 3 people in Oklahoma City now accused of stealing hundreds of packages from Amazon right before Christmas. Investigators say one of the suspects was an Amazon driver who delivered the packages to his own home. ABC's Andrea Fujiji.
Amazon releasing a statement urging affected customers to report any delays to Amazon customer service so we can work quickly to make it right. Back in November, a similar discovery was made in Alabama, where about 400 packages were found in this ditch. A FedEx driver was arrested on suspicion of cargo theft.
The surge of the Omicron variant taking out more big events.
2022 could be the year that Olivia Rodrigo takes the Grammys by storm, and it still might be, but she'll have to wait. The ceremony, set for January 31st at the Crypto.com Arena in downtown Los Angeles, has been postponed. The Recording Academy and CBS citing the uncertainty surrounding the Omicron variant. No new date set. And the Sundance Film Festival, set to start January 20th in Park City, Utah, has canceled all in-person events and will move fully online. Jason Nathanson, ABC News. Hollywood.
TikTok is reported to be testing a new feature similar to a retweet that would let users share other people's videos. This is ABC News.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with the Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Chuck Severson, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the rest.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. We're starting off with some cloud cover and some patchy fog for your morning commute. For this afternoon, the clouds will slowly move out, and we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Highs today staying in the 50s. Some rain showers move in this evening, and we'll see light to moderate rain showers overnight tonight. Moving out, though, before the Friday morning commute. It'll be a chilly start Friday morning with temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s, and then we'll see a mostly sunny sky, staying chilly Friday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Zach Moloch in the Weather Center.
And it's a cool 37 degrees here in Rutherfordton, according to Peter the meter reader, 37 degrees. It's 7:05, and I have these death announcements this morning. Master Trooper John S. Horton, 42 of Mooresboro, died in the line of duty Monday, January 3rd. The funeral will be conducted at 5 o'clock Friday, January the 7th, at the Foundation Conference Center at Isothermal Community College. The family will receive friends from 2 until 4:30 prior to the service at the Foundation. A burial with honors will be private for the family. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Master Trooper John S. Horton. Franklin Jerome Jerry Ruff, age 84 of Rutherfordton, died Sunday at his home. No formal services will be held and the Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory is working with the family of Franklin Jerome Jerry Ruff. Linda Ann Burgess Biggerstaff, age 78 of Forest City, died Tuesday, January the 4th at Fairhaven of Forest City. Funeral services will be held Friday, January the 7th at 3 o'clock at First Wesleyan Church. Burial will follow in the Concord Baptist Church Cemetery. Family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service at the church. The Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for Linda Ann Burgess Biggerstaff. Joyce Waters McFarland, 94 of the Hopewell community, died Wednesday, December 29th. Arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service for Joyce Waters McFarland. Jody Carolyn Harriman passed away December 23rd. A private ceremony for the immediate family will be held. An additional ceremony for Jody's many loved ones will be held at a later date, and details will be posted at the Washburn and Dorsey website and will be announced here. Jody Carolyn Harriman. Patsy Ann Turnell Folk, 82 of Shelby, passed away of natural causes January the 1st. An interactive celebration of life will be Saturday, January the 8th at Lily Memorial Baptist Church, Whitener Street, Shelby. Family asks that masks be worn while inside. Out of respect for everyone's health and safety and social distancing, protocols will be followed. The family will receive visitors from 1:30 until 2:45 in the Fellowship Hall, with service following at 3 o'clock in the sanctuary. There will be limited indoor seating and FM radio broadcast in the parking lot. Service will also be available online at 10ual.com/patsyfolk. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service, serving the family of Patsy and Turnell Folk. Glenda Joyce Cogdell Short, age 57 of Forest City, died Tuesday, January the 4th. A family-directed memorial service will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday, January the 8th, at the home of Nancy Morrow, 3420 Pea Ridge Road, Bostic. The family will receive friends following the service until 1 o'clock. The Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for Glenda Joyce Cogdell Short. Larry Brown, age 70 of Forest City, passed away December 17th at Adriam Health Cabarrus. A memorial mass will be held at Immaculate Conception Roman Catholic Church at 12 noon Saturday, January the 8th. And the family will continue to celebrate the life of Larry with the second service in the chapel of the Pageant and King Mortuary at 1:30 on Saturday. The family will receive friends following the service at the mortuary. Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory, serving the family of Larry Brown. Martha Billingsley, 82 of Ellenboro, died Monday, January 3rd. The funeral will be conducted at 3 o'clock Friday, January the 7th, at Victory Baptist Church, and burial will follow in Bethel Baptist Church Cemetery, with visitation from 1:30 until 2:45 Friday in the church prior to the service. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of those arrangements for Martha Billingsley. Carol Stallings Pate, age 73, of Rutherfordton, died Sunday, January the 2nd, at Hospice House of the Carolina Foothills. The funeral service will be at Holly Springs Baptist Church at 3 o'clock today. And visitation will begin in the church sanctuary following the funeral service after the family only escorts Carol to the funeral coach. Burial will be private at Holly Springs Baptist Church Cemetery. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Carol Stallings Pate. Jason Dean Van Dyke, 44, of Bostic, died Saturday, December 25th. A family-directed memorial service will be conducted at 2 o'clock Sunday, January the 16th, at Fairview Baptist Church. Family will receive friends from 1 until 2 at the church prior to the service. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of the cremation service for Jason Dean Van Dyke.
Attempting to disrupt Congress. That's what third world anarchists do. We don't do that. I'd like to know if any powerful group or people were behind the riot. But we will never know that because this bogus House panel is in business strictly to hurt Donald Trump. They don't want to know the truth. It is clear the former president suggested that the National Guard be deployed to Washington, D.C. on January 5th, a day before the riot. It did not happen because, according to our Constitution, local authorities, the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the House of Representatives leader, Nancy Pelosi, would have had to request the National Guard, and they did not. Why? Wouldn't you like to know that? So, let's recap. No justification for that riot. We need to know why security measures weren't taken even though the President of the United States suggested they should be. That is the key to the Capitol riot 1 year ago. Now this. AMAC is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful news, and a magazine full of uncensored content. They are pushing back against efforts to defund the police, weaken the borders, and corrupt our youth. But they need your help. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Good morning.
The music's on us. WCAB Rutherfordton.
This is Gilbert. I'm back on the air every Saturday from 8 to 9. So put on a pot of coffee, sit down, and listen to Gilbert Talks Taxes. You just might learn something.
Colin Baker was a small, thin bully from Texas who used a gun to make up for his size. In 1854, at the age of 16, he married Jane Petty. 4 years later, he killed a man. Colin and his family fled to Arkansas. 2 years later, his wife died. Colin, deep in the bottle, stabbed a man to death, and he ran back to Texas. Fortunately, no one seemed to care about his earlier Texas killings. Colin was able to gain the fancy of another woman and get married. At this time, the Civil War broke out, and Colin was conscripted into the Confederate Army. Not quite sure where his loyalties lay, he deserted the Confederate Army and joined the Union side. Then he deserted the Union Army and joined the Confederate guerrillas. Just after the end of the Civil War, Colin's second wife died. She was hardly cold in the grave when he was sparking Belle Foster. But her eyes were set for a crippled schoolteacher named Thomas Orr. After Belle married Thomas, Colin went off on the deep end, killing a storekeeper and later 5 soldiers. Finally, in December of 1868, Colin's jealousy got the best of him. He went to Thomas and Belle's home and at gunpoint dragged Thomas to the nearest tree where Colin hanged Thomas. Fortunately, Thomas was found and cut down before he died, but he had had enough. Thomas and 3 of his friends decided to find Colin and have a showdown. They found Colin on January 6, 1869, and approached him with lead flying. After this, Colin Baker no longer bothered anyone. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James Railroad Express has added 2 new sandwiches to their menu. Try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. And now, the new beer-battered fish sandwich. All come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only, hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Well, it's Thursday morning, the 6th day of January. Time to go to the phones and find out just what's been going on over the past 24 hours or so. And Sheriff Chris Francis, it seems like things are a little bit more settled this morning than when we talked on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Slowing down a little bit, thank goodness.
Good, yes. That was a sorrowful Tuesday morning to have to report.
It certainly was. It has to be one of the hardest nights in my career. I've had a few hard ones, but that ranks right up there.
Yeah, I'm sure. What's on today's report?
Jim, in the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 126 calls for service. There have been 7 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 148. Among those arrested, Christopher Ryan Towery, a 23-year-old male of Boston, was charged with NOL and received a $500 unsecured bond. Kenneth Scott Merck, 49-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $1,000 secured bond. Wendy Renee Carpenter, 47-year-old female, was charged with failure to appear and received a $2,000 secured bond. Travis Henry Wishon, 19-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with failure to appear and received a $20,000 secured bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny on Webb Church Road. There's a Troy-built tiller valued at $2,200 that was taken from the yard there. We had a B&E on Withrow Road, Forest City. Someone stole wiring from a heat pump. And we had assault by pointing a gun on Ellenboro Henrietta Road, and that case is still under investigation. And Jim, that's what we have to report today.
All right, Sheriff, thank you very much. I appreciate that you keeping us updated, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Be safe out there. Sheriff Chris Francis reporting in, a lot quieter this morning than before. Thank goodness for that. 18 minutes after the hour of 7.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Let's get the report from Amanda this morning from 911 Communications Center. See what's been going on in terms of phone calls over there. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on that report today?
Well, in the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications Center has processed 335 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 65 for the emergency medical services, 126 for the Sheriff's Office, 73 for Forest City, 2 for Lake Lure, 38 for Rutherford, and 77 for Spindale. Bostic Fire Department had a residential fire alarm. Cliffside had a brush fire. Rutherford had a smoke in the structure and a gas leak. And Spindale had a residential fire alarm. And that is all.
Thanks so much. You have a great day over there.
You too.
Bye.
It's time to toss your lucky shirt.
The one you refuse to wash no matter how many winning seasons go by. Because now you can find all the luck you need in 4 brand new scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Scratch-offs like $2 million Diamond Dazzler. There are millions of dollars in total prizes just waiting to be won. With winning potential like that, who needs a lucky shirt? Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.07 to 4.81. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Now we're checking in with the SDO Fire District. I'm sorry, is that right? Is that where we are, Ruby? Good morning. Is that where you are?
That's
SDO.
where we're at.
You haven't moved, have you? You haven't moved, have you? You're still there, right?
Yep.
Okay. What's on the report?
I ain't gonna move till the Lord takes me.
Well, I hope that's not anytime soon.
Well, the fire department, Jim, didn't have any calls. And on my birthday counter, I've got Gilda Tony having birthday, and I hope she has a nice day. And the signs are in the feet today and tomorrow. Jim, that's all I got.
Or you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Well, it's the time of year to start turning your attention to somebody you can trust with your tax information and your tax problems. IE would be a great source. Now let's head up toward the Fairfield Mountains Fire District, and our friend Gary Wilson is up and at 'em already this morning with coffee in hand, I'll bet. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, Jim, how you doing? I was going to offer to do your taxes for you if you wanted me to.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll take you. Come on by.
You might end up getting in trouble over that, though, so better skip that. This weather up here, temperature been going all over the map last night. It was 36 last night about 10 o'clock, and then it got up to 45, now it's back down to 42, so it can't make up as nice once they cold or hot, I don't think. But I think it's going to change for the colder tonight, sounds like. Get some rain this afternoon and clear off tonight and turn colder. And a chilly week sounds like coming up.
You're 42, you said, right now?
Yeah.
Wow. We're 37, so you're a little warmer than we are.
Temperature's been going all over the place. I don't know what's going on.
Been crazy, hasn't it?
Maybe me instead of the temperature. I don't know. Got a few little clouds hanging around, not much right now. It's mostly clear out there, so hopefully everything will be quiet tonight for everybody. Had a quiet night last night. A little class out of Bill's Creek last evening, so that was good to get everybody together for a change, and we'll see what the weather brings us, I guess, Jim.
It's going to be an interesting thing to watch this week, that weather channel, up and down the channel there with highs and lows and rain and no snow yet, but we'll get some before it's over with, I'll bet you.
Yeah, the only time we need to worry about around here much is when that thing comes out of the Gulf. If it comes out of the Gulf, we'll get a good one.
Yep.
So far, they're staying west of us. So.
Sound like higher elevations may get some tonight or tomorrow one, but we're pretty safe right now.
I think so.
You have a great day, Gary. I appreciate you being with us, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.
All right, bye. That's Fairfield Mountains Bills Creek Community Fire District reporter Gary Wilson. Well, our friends over at Washburn General Store, they're taking some time off this week. They earned it. Boy, they worked hard over Christmas. They helped a lot of you and me buy their Christmas gifts. And I know you're ready for them to open back up, and they'll be back there on Monday the 10th. You might have got a gift certificate, a gift card or something, but you might have just found something when you were shopping for others that you want to go back and get. Well, they'll be back at it on the 10th of January. They are taking some time off, well-earned vacation. So let's give them a big round when they come back and see what takes place. 25 minutes after 7. Here's DeVern now reporting to us from Bostic, North Carolina. DeVern, good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
We have 34 degrees over here in Bostic. Maybe get some bad weather after a while. Fire department had no calls. We have one birthday here in Bostic, Pam Kennedy, and that's my daughter. And we have a singing at 11 a.m. at Faith Baptist Church in Forest City. The Eubanks will be singing, and Brian Melton's pastor. Hope everyone has a safe and day today.
How many children do you have, DeVern?
Two girls.
2 girls. Well, good.
And 5 grandchildren and 5 great.
Wow, big family.
Yes.
Big family.
Yes.
Well,
I'm proud of my family.
I know you are. Well, thanks for being with us and appreciate the news, and you have a great day over there, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.
Same to you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Let's say good morning to Bob Hodge. He's up and out of this morning already. Had a cup of coffee maybe. Let's see what's going on over there at the Hudlow Fire District. Bob, how you doing?
We're doing just fine up here on this Thursday morning. Yeah, I'm got my cup of coffee over here already this morning.
Well, that makes the day a little bit brighter when you have a little cup of coffee.
Oh, that gets you going. Yeah.
People that don't drink coffee, I don't know how they make it in life.
Well, that's the way with me there, but I have to have my coffee early every morning there to get me going, I reckon.
Yep.
But, Jim, things going along good up here this morning. Overnight, we hadn't had any fire calls, and so everything's looking good, and look like we got some more rain and cold weather moving in later this afternoon, so get prepared for that, I reckon. Look like the way they talk, it's going to be cold in the morning with this time.
Yes, sir. But don't need to put those sweaters too far away, out of reach.
That's right. You better get that heavy coat back out again there. Yeah. But, Jim, that's about it. We don't have anything much going on up here this morning, so I reckon that's good, and maybe we'll have a quiet day all day today. And we have a couple of boys went to South Dakota to pick up a fire truck. Maybe they won't run into too much bad weather coming back.
Boy, they may run into snow sure enough up that way.
I believe they will there, so maybe they'll be safe and not run into too much trouble coming back down the road there, because that's up there getting up close to the Canadian border there.
Yes, it is, yeah. Well, I hope they'll be careful on the road.
Yeah. Well, Jim, that's about it. You take care and have a good day.
Thanks, Bob. You too. I will check on you tomorrow morning.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's a Hudlow Report with Bob Hodge. You know, for most of us, when it comes to family, there's nothing we won't do to protect them. They're the stories of moms lifting cars off their trapped children and other tales of heroism that seem to defy all logic and reason. This story of a young girl coming to her mother's aid at a time when most children would have run scared shows a love and strength that could inspire all of us. In West Palm Beach, Florida, a 9-year-old Journey Nelson and her mother were out shopping for groceries at the local supermarket as usual when something terrifying happened. As the two walked back to their vehicles in the parking lot, a robber came up to Journey's mother and attempted to steal her purse. As the frightening video footage outside the grocery store captured, the purse was not relinquished easily, and the mother was brought to the ground by the robbers' force. The young girl could have run for help, screamed in fear, or froze by the mere sight of it all, but she didn't. Guess what she did? Journey recounts how the scene unfolded to Fox and Friends Weekend. She said, "We walked out of the store, and then I took a little glance at him, and then I looked back at the car, and then I opened my door. And then next thing I know, I saw him running toward my mom. The violent jerking of the purse by the robber pulled Journey's mother to the ground, while the man warned the mother who clung to her bag, 'You're going to make me pop you.' Well, this brave little girl ran to her mom's rescue and began punching the suspect on his head until he let go of the purse. As if that wasn't brave enough, Journey proceeded to chase the man 4 houses down the street. West Palm Beach, Florida Police Chief Outerly was amazed by the young girl's action and commended her for her bravery and with a medal and a certificate, according to a tweet. The suspect, Demetrius Jackson, was arrested 2 days later and charged with robbery and battery. While Journey's actions were nothing short of the epitome of strength, Chief Adelaide does not recommend anyone confront a suspect criminal. Who knows what would have happened if Journey did not come to her mom's aid and the robber had pulled out a gun. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that, and they both get to go home safely because for family, we would take on the world. That little girl was bold enough to beat on that old guy till he ran away. So, let's head over towards Sue Price now over to Cherry Mountain Fire District and see what's been happening over there in terms of fires. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
What's been going on over there?
Looks like a nice morning over here. Are we expecting bad weather today?
Well, maybe this afternoon we may get some rain, about a 60% chance, but nothing bad. Rain tonight, but the only problem tonight with rain, the temperature is going to be low, so it may freeze over, so we'll have to watch that.
Yeah, everybody just be careful. Well, I didn't have any calls from the fire department, and this is one of those days I don't have a single birthday or anniversary on my calendars. The ones I haven't got first broad yet. And Johnny, if you're listening there in Golden Valley, if you want me to call and give me the birthdays, I'd be glad to put yours on too. And so far, it's just quiet and calm over here. We're looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. You have one too, and I will check on you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
In Leading Purpose, we recognize that some of our local businesses have struggled the last 2 years trying to make sure the dream they built for their company is not damaged. So many factors have been involved in keeping you from doing what you intended to do as a business owner and what you want to do, both for your employees and your community. Leading Purpose is a local small business that wants to walk with you on your journey to achieving greater abundance.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
You know, a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people ask me, Jim, when is it going to snow? When are we going to get our first snow? Well, I don't really know, but it's the elements are certainly right for it. Northern elevations up beyond Asheville, up around Madison County, and up through there, they're getting a prediction of some snow even today and tonight. Our weather is a little different from theirs, although we're in the heart of the thermal belt. Supposedly that keeps us warm, and sometimes we'll get it when it comes out of the south, out of the Gulf. If you start hearing a storm developing down there, look out, it's coming our way too. But when it's up and around the higher elevation, we don't get maybe a few flurries, but that's about it. Today it looks like just rain with the temperature dropping tonight down to 24. That wind chill as low as 18, wind gusting to 60 miles per hour. So the chance of rain tonight is 60% with those cool temperatures. So who knows what we may get in the morning, but we'll keep our watch on that. And then it turns off mostly sunny, warming up to 40 by Friday and 43 by Saturday with sunny skies. So like what is it they say, if you don't like our weather, hang around a little bit, it'll change. We're attempting to get in touch with our good friends over at the Drop-In Family Mart in Boston to talk with them this morning. It's been a few days since we've had a chance to visit with them, and we hope we can get them on the phone. I believe Todd's on hold over there with them. We'll see what takes place here in just a few moments. Meanwhile, our next big game that we'll be carrying with Tar Heels is coming up on Saturday, UNC and Virginia. That's a countdown to tip off at 11:30 on Saturday. And pregame is 12.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Well, it's amazing how they've been able to help you so much with breakfast over at the Family Drop-In Family Mart. They do such a wonderful job. They stay really, really busy. And they, like many others, could use some additional help. They got several drop-in stores around the county. They all additional help. Everywhere you go anymore, you look for help wanted signs, hiring signs. But if you want a good breakfast, go by Drop-In Family Mart there in Boston, and you won't find anybody to take care of you any better than they do there. If you buy groceries, that's a great place to do your grocery shopping. If you have problems getting in and out of the car, they'll bring it out to the car for you. They'll do the shopping for you. It's big-time, friendly, small-town owned, locally owned business. That's the Drop-In Family Mart there in Boston. Got a great fresh meat market. They got meat fresh back there. You need to visit if you've never been. Let me encourage you to stop by and see what I'm talking about, because I think you'll be impressed with the Drop-In Family Mart there in Boston, across from the post office. Let's head down toward Shingle Hollow. We'll go way up there to Tina White's house and see what's happening up there. Tina, how you doing?
I'm doing great this morning. It's a good chilly morning. It's 39 degrees on my front porch. The sunrise, sunrise was beautiful this morning. Had some bright red in it, so red sky in the morning.
Yep.
We know it's a sailor in the morning.
That's what they say.
The fire department was all quiet in the past 24 hours. And on the birthday calendar, we have Briar Birch. He is 11 today, turns the big 11. And so we wish him a very happy birthday, Briar. Piney Knob Baptist Church is having a basketball game tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Everybody in the community is invited to come out and play or watch. That's always a fun time. And Pilgrim Way Baptist Church is having a blood drive on January 15th, and they're asking for people to donate blood, and it's from 10 to 3, and if you want to sign up, the phone number is 429-9328, and that's all I have this morning.
Thank you very much, Tina. You enjoy your day.
You too, and have a great day. Everybody be safe.
Right, bye-bye. And Shingle Hollow, nice and quiet. We're going to check on Union Mills right after we do this.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Union Mills is still there. Brenda Kelly is still there to give us a report. And we'll go up to the top of the hill now, knock on her door, ring her doorbell, and see if she will come to the door and give us the news from Union Mills. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Jim. How are you on this tremendous Thursday morning?
I'm so happy I could swing from a limb.
Oh, my goodness, no. I have to agree with Tina on that sunrise this morning. It was pretty, and it had red in it.
Oh, yeah?
It was beautiful. I wish you had just a little bit of a window in that blue room so you could see the sunrise.
I wish I could, too. It would be a great thing to watch that happen. Maybe I can turn the building around, put it on roll.
There you go. Just turn it
around a little
around.
bit so I can look out the front door.
Oh,
but I do get to see the sunsets. And they're
yeah,
beautiful.
and they're pretty, too.
Yeah.
But we hope everybody's having a good Thursday. I've got 30 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or any anniversaries. And in ways of announcements, we got a breakfast at the Gilkey School Community Center, and that's Saturday, January the 8th, going from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., and the cost is adults, $7, kids 7 to 12, $3, and kids 6 and under eat free. And other than that, I don't know of anything going on. It's just short, sweet, quiet, and we're just waiting on whatever the weather brings.
You got big plans today?
No, I'm going to make a pot of chili beans.
Hey. Finish your puzzle?
I finished that one and started another one, and it's got me stumped a little bit, but I'll get her done.
Well, I wish I had your patience.
I don't like to be defeated. I may be the last one in the race crossing the finish line, but I want to cross it.
There you go. I like that attitude. Listen, have a great day up there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, catch you later.
Bye. That's Union Mills reporting in with our spokesperson, Brenda Kelly. Going to Ellenboro next. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. We're going over to Ellenboro now. What's your name?
Sweet Thing.
Sweet Thing in Ellenboro, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing this morning?
Yes, I'm a cool dude this morning, too.
Yeah. Yes, I can imagine that.
It's 38 degrees out here right now. But it's a good morning, though. It's quiet this morning, not a whole lot happening. The fire department had 2 medical calls. They had one of them yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock, then one about midnight this morning. Well, a little after 12 this morning. Other than that, they're quiet. Just nothing going on down here. Everybody's just getting their biscuit and their gas and heading on out to work. So, nothing else happening down here, Jim. You have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Keep your eye on things for us, and I'll check back in with you tomorrow.
All right, take care now.
And you can hear the Ellenboro reporting afternoons with the afternoon caller and report with Kevin Pleasant. Now it's birthday time, anniversary time for the 6th day of January. 6th day of January. A year ago on this day, there was excitement up in Washington. They're going to be beating that to death for the next few years probably. They're studying that, but we'll see what kind of story they come out with on that. But anyway, if you're having a birthday or anniversary today, call us now at 287-3356. Todd's standing by to take that call. 287-3356. We'll give you a big shout out.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Well, you know about the delicious Daylight Donuts from Granny B's. They're exceptional. They're really, people have turned to them for their donuts anymore, it seems like. Granny B's Delicious Daylight Donuts. And you know about they started doing pizza now, and that Granny B's special pizza is outstanding. And you may know by now that they're also doing breakfast. Yes, from 7 until 11, You can get a good hot breakfast with fresh coffee, and they have some specialty blends of coffee as well. A big old coffee machine back there. You'll enjoy doing business with these fine folks. They're wonderful people, and they love having you come in. It's locally owned business. They're right here at home, and they've been doing this a long time. They know what they're doing, and they know how to take care of you. So if you want breakfast this morning, go by Granny B's and enjoy breakfast. And when you need your clothes cleaned, keep Folks Cleaners in mind. They do both laundry and dry clean, and we offer our deep regrets and sorrow to Mrs. Folk, the mother of the family. Passed away 2 days. We have her obituary over there, but she passed away, so we offer our condolences to the Folk family, Aubrey and Mark and some of the others in the family. Our condolences to you during this time.
Happy birthday.
Well, while Todd's bringing the list back to me, let me offer a personal word here. My brother and his wife, Bill and Jan, celebrating an anniversary today. Jan is a local girl. Bill married her. She's right here in Spindale. So they're I don't know how many years they've been married, but it's been a long time. And they're celebrating. They live down in the Chesney area. And we want to wish Bill and Jan a happy anniversary. Mickey Campbell of Harris is 68 today. Ryan Flack up in Union Mills is having a birthday. In 1878, Carl Sandburg was born. Todd, you remember that. He died in 1967. 1880, Tom Mix, cowboy actor, was born. He died in 1940. I didn't realize he was that old, but he was. Anyway, 1912, Danny Thomas, comedian, was born. He died in 1991. 1924, Earl Scruggs was born. Died in 2012. 1955, Rowan Atkinson, also known as Mr. Bean, was born. Some of the events on this day: 1912, New Mexico became the 47th state of the Union. 1942, Pan American Airlines becomes the first commercial airline to schedule a flight around the world. 1963, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins began on NBC. 1975, Wheel of Fortune debuted on NBC. This is also National Bean Day, National Cuddle Up Day, National Shortbread Day, and National Technology Day, and National Stay Tuned to WCAB Day. Now you're up to date on this date in history right here on 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB. My Great America with Jim and Butch coming up 9:05 this morning. Now it's time for Keys to Confident Living.
Giving credit to whom credit is due is not only good advice, but it is also biblical. The book of Proverbs closes by talking about a person who is to receive the rewards they have earned and that their work should be praised in the public arena. You might think he is talking about some politician, corporate executive, famous athlete, or movie star. He isn't talking about any of those. He is talking about a godly wife and mother. His description of this woman who cares for her husband and family is truly a masterpiece. It is a snapshot of virtue and nobility. I bring up this significant passage because it is so fitting for my mother. This past year, Mom passed away in a hospital in Springfield, Ohio. She had lived a very full life and modeled what King Solomon was talking about. Her teaching career was put on hold in order to raise 7 children. She was industrious and expected us to be. I was surprised how many things she and Dad could find for us kids to do on just 1 acre of ground. She modeled what she wanted us to become. I have no recollections of Mom telling us one thing and then doing another. She convinced us of her faith in us and in her God. She was a devoutly spiritual woman and encouraged us to be also. As we gathered to plan Mom's funeral, it was amazing to me how much we fulfilled the advice given in Proverbs. It says, "A woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward that she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate." This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
This is Gerald Willis, attorney with the Aldridge Law Firm in Rutherford. I want to publicly commend Jim Bishop, Lou Gillum, Tracy Hauser, and the
And especially into the early overnight hours, our highs today staying in the 50s. We start dry and stay dry for Friday. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s to low 30s Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny sky with highs in the upper 30s and low 40s, staying just as chilly on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Zach Moloch in the Weather Center.
And we are still at 36 degrees and cloudy weather outside our front door here, but we'll be warming up a little bit today. Not a whole lot, but warming up a little bit and dropping back tonight to colder than we are right now. Matter of fact, our high today is 51 with a chance of a precip this afternoon, about 60%, dropping back tonight to 24. So it'll be below freezer logger range tonight. 8:05, we've got news from here and there coming up in just a moment.
It's time to toss your lucky shirt, the one you refuse to wash no matter how many winning seasons go by. Because now you can find all the luck you need in 4 brand new scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Scratch-offs like $2 million Diamond Dazzler. There are millions of dollars in total prizes just waiting to be won. With winning potential like that, who needs a lucky shirt? Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.07 to 4.81. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Some news from here and there. Fox 21, Fox Carolina News is reporting this morning a 3-year-old girl was found safe and a man arrested after she went missing in Sanford, according to the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. According to Sanford Police, 3-year-old Riley Harper Box was taken by 50-year-old Brent James Box from a home on Lee Avenue in Sanford. Officials say the mother, Deanna Michelle Box, was found dead inside the same home, and police are investigating her death. Rutherford County deputies say Riley was found with Box in a hotel after he crashed his car. He's being charged with fugitive from justice, according to the deputies, and more news from that will be forthcoming, I feel sure. Other news from here and there this morning. Trooper John Horton, a 15-year veteran of the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, died following a crash on Monday night during a traffic stop. And Horton and the man he had detained during the stop, 25-year-old Dusty Begg, were both struck and killed when another responding trooper, Horton's brother, Trooper James Horton, lost control of his vehicle approaching the stop. Services for Horton will be held Friday, January the 7th, on the campus of Isothermal Community College. A visitation will take place from 2 until 4:30 in the Foundation Auditorium. The North Carolina Troopers Association Caisson unit will ceremoniously carry the body of Trooper Horton around the college's lake after the visitation. A funeral service will follow the visitation at 5 o'clock inside the auditorium. A private graveside memorial service will be held at a later time for family and close friends. Horton left behind a wife and 6 children. Meanwhile, the North Carolina Highway Patrol has identified the detained motorist killed Monday night during that traffic stop that claimed the life of the trooper. Dusty Luke Begg, 26, of South Carolina, was pronounced dead at the scene Monday night after the double fatality. Beck, riding a motorcycle, had been stopped by Trooper John S. Horton shortly before 9 p.m. at High Shoals Church and Goose Grove Church Roads. Trooper James Nick Horton was responding to assist his brother John when he lost control of his cruiser and then struck his brother's stationary patrol car at the scene, which then hit John Horton and Beck, the Highway Patrol reported. During a press conference Tuesday afternoon, Governor Roy Cooper expressed his condolences to both the Horton and Beck family. Cooper said, "I particularly want to give condolences to the friends and families of State Highway Patrol Trooper John Horton and Mr. Dusty Luke Beck, who were both killed in that tragic accident. Both victims were fathers. Beck has 3 children, while Horton is a father of 6. Social media has been abuzz about the tragic circumstances of the crash, offering condolences for both men killed. Unfortunately, Facebook often offers speculations, a lot of speculations and untruths. So pay attention very closely to what they're writing on Facebook and make sure you have the facts before you start talking about it. One post included a message from Ashley Horton, John's wife and the mother of their children. She said, "He was an amazing man. He was my person. I fell in love with him at 15. He's all I've ever known. I don't even know what to do without him, but I'm thankful my hope is not in things of this world." End quote. Meanwhile, the body of John Horton was transported back through Rutherford County Tuesday afternoon for funeral preparations. Law enforcement agencies paid tribute to the fallen officer by lining up as the procession traveled to the funeral home from the hospital. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation is leading the probe of the crash, along with North Carolina State Highway Patrol Collision Reconstruction Unit. The investigation remains active with no new information to report as of yesterday afternoon. A Daily Courier reported that story. Meanwhile, over in Forest City on Monday, January the 3rd, Forest City Police Department initiated a traffic stop in the area of Beaver Street. After a short vehicle chase, the suspect vehicle stopped and both subjects were detained. The passenger was identified as Michael Irvin Hughes, and the driver was identified as Mickey Callahan. Forest City Police Department K-9 Thor was deployed and alerted to the presence of narcotics inside the vehicle. During the investigation, a large amount of methamphetamine was located inside the vehicle. Forest City Police Department narcotics detectives requested assistance from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Unit and Criminal Apprehension Team after gathering additional information regarding large amounts of methamphetamine being stored at multiple locations. Forest City Police Department officers were, with the assistance of the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Unit and Criminal Apprehension Team, conducted a search at 125 Lark Lane, Forest City, and they seized many items of drugs, including 47.7 grams of meth, 3.8 grams of methamphetamine, 7.6 grams of marijuana, and multiple items of drug paraphernalia. Following the search at 125 Lark Lane, a search warrant was conducted on the storage unit located in Forest City. The following items were seized: 2,097.86 grams of meth, one stolen bicycle, multiple color pills, one Marlin 22 caliber rifle, and one German-made 22 caliber rifle. As a result of the joint investigation, a total of 2,765.8 grams, that's 6.9 pounds of methamphetamine, was taken off the streets and out of the hands of many. Forest City Police Department would like to thank the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Unit and Criminal Apprehension Team. This large seizure was made as part of a narcotics task force between the Forest City Police Department and Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. And they charged in those incidents is Michael Irvin Hughes, age 53, of Lark Lane in Forest City. He was arrested and charged with one count of trafficking in methamphetamine, one count of possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule 1, 2 counts of possession of Schedule 3, 1 count of possession with intent to sell, deliver marijuana, 2 counts of maintaining a vehicle, a dwelling place for a controlled substance, 5 counts of possession of firearm by a felon, 1 count of possession of stolen property, and 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. He received a $580,000 secured bond. Good work, Jobs. Thank you. Good job there. I appreciate the enforcement there in Forest City and the Sheriff's Department rallying together to get folks like that off the street. Well, according to an article in the Courier, Scott Carpenter reported that the Rutherford County Airport experienced a slowdown in 2020 in the early months of COVID-19 pandemic, but rebounded last year in 2021. Activity at the airport is now greater than it was before the pandemic, and officials are expecting that to continue this year. County Commissioner Mike Benfield was appointed to another term as the Airport Authority Chairman on Monday. The county commissioners serve as the Airport Authority. Benfield said of 2021, we have had a good year at the airport. We're looking forward to more growth. The local airport is wholly owned by Rutherford County. It has 23 privately owned hangars on site, as well as one large hangar that typically houses 10 to 12 privately owned aircraft. Typically, there are between 40 and 50 aircraft housed at the airport. Airport Director of Operations Devon Rash said space is leased for these aircraft on a month-to-month basis. Some of these are long-term tenants who have been here for years. Rash says interest is only growing among aircraft owners who are wanting to house their aircraft at the Rutherford County Airport. Work recently began on construction of a new hangar, and another is expected to begin in the summer. Local people are buying more aircraft and want to house their airplanes here, he said. Many may live an hour's drive or more from Rutherford County. While many counties have airports, some do not. Many people, according to Rash, prefer the Rutherford County Airport. Our airport has a good reputation. Many say it's one of the nicer ones that is maintained well. It is also a beautiful setting. Our airport stacks up well against others. So there are many reasons why people choose the Rutherford County Airport as home base, and that's just a few of them. So it is a great thing that Rutherford County has that airport and is so well maintained. More than half the visitors that come to Rutherford County Airport are non-business related. While January and February are usually the Slowest month of the year for airport activity. Officials are hopeful that 2022 will be another good year for local airport. One question that remains is the price of fuel. Prices have come down slightly, Rash said, but we want to see the price of fuel come down more. The airport is poised for another busy year. As the state's economy continues to rebound, activity at the airport will increase. And more folks are coming here, and more folks coming here and deciding they like it well enough to stay. So our population is growing. People who are moving for all directions. Check the car tags. As you're out about, you'll see cars here shopping from all over the country. We're glad they're here. We want to welcome them, make them feel welcome. We just want them to remember we're welcome and do all we can to help make this your permanent home and the place you want to love. But if you're coming from one of those blue states, don't bring those blue philosophies into Rutherford County. We don't want the Calvin Newsom type approach right here. We want to maintain a positive, conservative move forward. All right, with that said, let's see what else is on the news from here and there this morning. 16 minutes after 8 o'clock, and I'll be back in just a moment.
For a delicious meal every day, call on Gregory's Original. Choose from their top menu of burgers, subs, grinders, pasta dishes, fresh salads, and so much more. All dishes are prepared fresh daily. Hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. until 9 p.m., Saturday, noon until 9 p.m. Now at Gregory's, try the family-style meals. The dining room is now open, but curbside and takeout is still available. Enjoy lunch or dinner today with your favorite meal from Gregory's. Call 287-2171, located in the Park Lane Plaza in Rutherford. Gregory's Original.
Patsy King Mortuary and Crematory was founded in 1903 and continues to serve Rutherford County and surrounding areas for more than a century, offering a wide selection of services from at-need funeral and cremation arrangements, shipping services, pre-arrangement, and an on-site crematory. We strive to meet your every need and expectation. Our licensed staff provides professional and courteous service in your time of need at any hour. Any questions you might have about any of our services, please give us a call. Paget & King, a trusted name in funeral service, East Main Street in Forest City.
In this story from our friends up in McDowell County, on January 3rd, approximately 7:44 p.m., Marion police officers responded to a disturbance on Park Avenue near Cardinal Lane. Officers arrived to a chaotic scene and found one victim identified as Ethan Dakota Trotman, 20, of Marion, lying on Park Avenue with a single gunshot wound to the torso. A short time later, Trotman was pronounced dead at the scene due to his injuries. Preliminary investigation to the incident has revealed that the victim went to 153 Park Avenue as a passenger in a 2006 Hummer SUV. It is suspected that the purpose of the visit was to collect money that was owed to him by an individual that was present at Park Avenue. Also riding the Hummer was a driver identified as Bobby Landon Thomas Jr. of Nebo, and a front seat passenger, Bradley Franklin Metcalf, also of Nebo. He was 19. Witness statements say the victim exited the vehicle and went to the front of the residence. Once at the front of the residence, contact was made between the individual that owed money and Troutman, and an altercation ensued. During the altercation, a third person identified as Emilio Yesu Villarreal, 24, Morganton, came out of the residence with a handgun. At some point, Villarreal fired a single shot from the front porch, striking Troutman in the torso. Troutman then ran from the front of the residence and got back into the Hummer to leave. It was only then he and his passengers realized he had been shot. At that time, the other occupants in the vehicle removed Troutman and tried to render aid, but their attempt was unsuccessful. Investigators are still attempting to locate one unnamed individual for questioning that fled from the scene after the shooting. Emilio Yesu Villarreal was arrested on the scene and charged with murder. Villarreal was transported to the McDowell County Slammer, where he is being held under a secured bond. No further information is available at this time about that incident. The Marion Police Department would like to thank the State Bureau of Investigation and the District Attorney's Office for their assistance in this case. 19 past the hour of 8 o'clock. The Sheriff's Report with Sheriff Chris Francis coming up here in just a moment.
Are you in the market for farm equipment? So now is the perfect time to see the boys at East Rutherford Equipment. They have quality equipment exclusively by Mahindra. Mahindra offers a heavier lift capacity with stronger parts for the toughest of jobs. Stop in today and see Doyle or Tommy Hollifield at East Rutherford Equipment, 153 Hamrick Road in Ellenboro, or give them a call at 453-0090. Mahindra and East Rutherford Equipment, a good combination.
Well, from this point on through winter, we're going to be watching the weather pattern because, as you know, living here long, you know that the weather changes within a matter of few hours. Right now, nothing exciting, nothing out of the ordinary is happening other than cold weather coming, rain's coming back in. And with the cold weather, temperature, with the rain, who knows what may happen. So we're watching that for you. You be sure to stay tuned. I know many of you have the weather app on your phone, but sometimes it's easier to listen to the radio than it is to find that phone. So stay tuned. Lock it in at 100.9 FM, 590 AM WCAB. Another interesting My Great America with Jim DeWitch coming up at 9:05 this morning. We hope you'll hang around for that. No need to go anywhere. We got you covered. Chris Francis was on the radio with us this morning. He's the sheriff of Rutherford County. He gave us this report.
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 126 calls for service. There have been 7 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 148. Among those arrested, Christopher Ryan Towery, a 23-year-old male of Boston, was charged with NOL and received a $500 unsecured bond. Kenneth Scott Merck, 49-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $1,000 secured bond. Wendy Renee Carpenter, 47-year-old female, was charged with failure to appear and received a $2,000 secured bond. Travis Henry Wishon, 19-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with failure to appear and received a $20,000 secured bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny on Webb Church Road. There's a Troy-built tiller valued at $2,200 that was taken from the yard there. We had a B&E on Withrow Road, Forest City. Someone stole wiring from a heat pump. And we had assault by pointing a gun on Ellenboro Henrietta Road, and that case is still under investigation. Jim, that's what we had to report.
Thank you very much, Sheriff Chris Francis. I mentioned this story earlier during the 7 o'clock hour, and I thought it was pretty interesting, fascinating. Somebody taught this young girl to be bold and courageous. Far from us when it comes to family. There's nothing we won't do to protect them, most of us. There are the stories of moms lifting cars off of trapped children and other tales of heroism that seem to defy all logic and reason. This is a story of a young girl coming to her mother's aid at a time when most children would have run scared. Shows of love and strength that could inspire us all. In West Palm Beach, Florida, 9-year-old Journey Nelson and her mother went out shopping for groceries. As usual, when something terrifying happened, as the two walked back to their vehicle in the parking lot, a robber ran up to Journey's mother and attempted to steal her purse. As the frightening video footage outside the grocery store captured, the purse was not relinquished easily, and the mother was brought to the ground by the robber's force. The young girl could have run for help, screamed in fear, or froze by the mere sight of that, but she didn't. Journey recounts how the scene unfolded to Fox and Friends weekend. She told the story. She said, we walked out of the store, and I took a little glance at him, and then I looked back at the car, and then I opened my door, and then next thing I know, I saw him running toward my mom. The violent jerking of the purse by the robber pulled Journey's mother to the ground, while the man warned the mother, who clung to her bag, "You're going to make me pop you." The brave girl ran to her mom's rescue and began punching the suspect on his head repeatedly until he let go of the purse. And he said he wasn't brave enough. Journey proceeded to chase the man 4 houses down the street. The West Palm Beach Police Chief Adderley was amazed by the young girl's action and commended her for her bravery with a medal and a certificate. The suspect, Demetrius Jackson, was arrested 2 days later and charged with robbery and battery, according to Fox 35 Orlando. While Journey's actions were nothing short of the epitome of strength, Chief Adderley does not recommend anyone confront a suspected criminal. Who knows what would happen if Journey did not come to her mother's aid and the robber had pulled out a gun. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that, and they both get to go home safely, because for family, we'd take on the world, wouldn't we? Brave little girl. Somebody taught her to be brave and not wimpy. Stand by for an upgrade on sports from our network, and we'll be back with more stuff to talk about that I think you might be interested in. It's all right here exclusively on 100.9 FM, 590 AM, and that'd be WCAB.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. We start with college hoops and the Carolina Tar Heels taking on the Fighting Irish in South Bend. Carolina coming back from a 13-point second-half deficit, but they could not finish. Nate Laszewski scored a season-high 20 points, including consecutive threes to give Notre Dame back the lead, and they ended up winning 78-73. Down by double digits, Heels head coach Hubert Davis says he told his players in the second half they needed to make adjustments. He said they accomplished some short-term tweaks, but not a consistent adjustment.
We were able to take the lead, and I think after we took the lead, I think they went on a 12-6 run. And so on the road against anybody, you have to be disciplined, you have to be sound on both ends of the floor, and we just weren't.
Armando Bacot finished with 21 points and a career-high 17 rebounds for the Heels. R.J. Davis had 19, and Caleb Love chipped in 15. Other North Carolina D1 men's programs in action last night. East Carolina winners over Tulane, 88-80. Gardner-Webb topped Charleston Southern, also putting up 88 to Charleston Southern's 63. North Carolina A&T topped Presbyterian. UNC Asheville beat Campbell, and Western Carolina got past the Citadel, 94-90. Tennis world number one player Novak Djokovic will remain in detention in Australia until at least next week while he fights deportation ahead of the upcoming Australian Open.
Djokovic remains in visa limbo, pending an appeal hearing due next week. His lawyers have since secured an interim injunction to stop his deportation. His visa was cancelled upon his arrival in Australia on a technicality. It's cast doubt on whether he'll be able to play in the Australian Tennis Open. It's understood the world number one will remain in hotel detention until the case proceeds. Scott Mayman for CBS News, Brisbane, Australia.
This is NCN Sports.
You can't look at anything coming out of Washington and conclude that there's any common sense left in the place. Career politicians tell us there is no inflation. The Afghanistan withdrawal was a huge success. The parents who challenge radical school policies are domestic terrorists, and massive new spending and debt doesn't cost us anything. Washington career politicians want us to swallow their nonsense hook, line, and sinker. Well, let's restore common sense by sending Marjorie Eastman to the United States Senate. Marjorie Eastman is one of us, a mom, decorated military veteran, entrepreneur, and military spouse. Most importantly, Marjorie Eastman is not a career politician. Marjorie Eastman will apply common sense to governing, help cut spending, fight to restore a strong American military, and demand that government serves the people. Send Marjorie Eastman to Washington as our next U.S. Senator. Paid for by Restore Common Sense PAC, www.restorecommonsense.usa.com, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Kelly Oubre Jr. hit a career-high 9 of Charlotte's franchise record 24 three-pointers as the Hornets routed the Pistons 140-111 last night. Oubre hit 8 from beyond three-point range in the fourth quarter, tying an NBA record set by Milwaukee's Michael Redd back in 2002. He finished 8 for 9 on threes in the fourth quarter before being subbed out with 4:08 left and the Hornets leading by 35. The NFL, not surprisingly, while we are in the midst of a number of COVID cases on the rise, are looking into other potential sites for next month's Super Bowl. Not unusual, as the league does so every year, but with L.A. site this year's title game and restrictions increasing for attendance at indoor events, it is becoming more noteworthy for the league to find another alternative. Josh and Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello and happy Thursday. For the day ahead, we'll see a partly cloudy sky this afternoon, staying mainly dry, but then some rain showers move in later on this evening and especially into the early overnight hours. Our highs today staying in the 50s. We start dry and stay dry for Friday. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s to low 30s Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny sky with highs in the upper 30s and low 40s, staying just as chilly on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And currently we have 38 degrees. Let me check over my left shoulder here. No, it's 37, still 37, according to Peter the meter reader. And cool weather coming back to us tonight. Warming up to 51, coming back down to tonight to about 24, cooler than we are right now. So it's going to be up and down the thermometer these next few days, so we might as well keep the warm jackets close by and the sunglasses close by and the umbrella close by because we may get some of all of it. It's 8:30. Let's see what else is going on. I think some of these great positive stories, I love to read those. This is what one Georgia pastor did for a pregnant Waffle House waitress. Pregnant Waffle House waitress in Stockbridge didn't expect what she thought a normal and regular day of her life would become most unforgettable moment, not just for her but for the Waffle House owner too. Hannah Hill was thankful after she received a huge tip from Bishop Eusebio Phelps, the local pastor at New Faith Christian Church. This happened after Phelps went into the Waffle House to pick up his breakfast. He generously gave Hannah a $4 tip that made to the young woman's surprise. According to the bishop, she was so nice over the telephone, and when I got there, I paid for my food, and I told her to keep the change. And then when I looked at her, I recognized she was pregnant, and she said yes, she was. So at that time, I was just really urged to give her the rest of the money that I had in my wallet, which was about $40. He added he'd soon be compelled to do even more. Phelps explained, I gave her the $40, and I told her that I just wanted to be able to bless her so that she could buy something for the baby. He couldn't remove the young waitress and her unborn child from his mind, especially after he learned that the name that Hannah intended to give her unborn son. Yep, you guessed it. After thanking Phelps for the generous tip, a gracious Hannah said she planned to name her baby Samuel, which just so happened to be the name of Phelps' son, who died in Atlanta 7 years prior. With the anniversary of his son's death approaching, this revelation struck a particular bittersweet chord with Phelps. Although Hannah was already extremely appreciative of Phelps' gesture, the pastor felt compelled to do something more, so he went home and devised a plan with his wife without Hannah's knowledge. In fact, she would have no idea what the man had done until she received a call telling her that she needed to get down to the Waffle House quickly. Well, after receiving a phone call from her mother-in-law telling her to get down to the restaurant right away, Hannah arrived at the Waffle House, where she was greeted by Phelps and other customers who were ready to present her with another surprise, a check for more than $12,000, which the pastor had raised for her. I went home, I told my wife what happened, Phelps said, recalling what occurred after first meeting Hannah. I was like, listen, I want to raise $1,000 to give to Hannah so she can buy whatever she needs for the baby. He added that he set out to complete that mission, never imagining it would become much bigger than he'd ever hoped. After taking to Facebook to reveal his plan to help the needy mom, the generous pastor's post generated more than $12,000 in donations from the community. Unbeknownst to the pastor or those who contributed, it was the answer to prayers that Hannah had been praying. With one child already, the young mom had serious concerns about what life would be like when the new baby arrived and was really stressing out over it. I had a lot going on. I don't really pray that often, she told WXIA. I'm not necessarily that religious. I wasn't really raised in the church. Don't go to church a lot. Haven't cracked open the Bible in forever, but lately I have been praying. I've been really stressing lately. I've been worried about the babies getting here. I'm so grateful, and that's all I can say. I'm so grateful and appreciative to everything. God is good all the time. Well, that's one positive, great story from another section of our country. And you folks right here are doing some of the same kinds of things that story is all about. When I came forward at Christmas and told you about the homeless mother with two boys that was living in a camper, sleeping on the floor on a pallet, no running water. All the belongings she had was piled outside the camper because that's all she had. That's all the place she had to go. You came forward in abundance and really supported that, and we have, just to give you an update, it's still in the process of happening. It's not over yet, but it's still in the process of happening. More positive things are beginning to develop. I found we could not find an apartment or a house anywhere that was open and available to put this family in, the mother and two boys. She's struggled all life. She was said she'd been on her own since she was 14. A mother at that time was in and out of her life, so she lived from hand to mouth. And struggle. And of course, two boys came into her life from two different men, and she didn't have anywhere to go. So I mentioned that to you as our Christmas family, and you came forward, and we were able to find a motel in Gastonia that was clean and would look after her. We put her and the boys in a warm motel with two big beds, warm beds that the boys could sleep in, she could sleep in, have hot showers, hot water, refrigerator, full refrigerator, and a microwave, and a free complimentary breakfast every morning. They thought they were in heaven. And the money, had enough for, I think, a couple of weeks. Then more money came in. We were able to do it for a third week while she's trying to get on her feet. And now it's another great godsend came in first of the week. Friend came in and wrote another check for another large amount of money, and we still are able to keep her safe and warm. She has since made arrangements to get on a program that's going to help her find a place and help her pay the rent until she's able to get a job. She's in the process of getting her birth certificate in South Carolina that she has not had in a long time, some kind of ID. She doesn't have her driver's license. She has since reinstated some friendship with her mom, who lives, I think, near Bessemer's, Belmont, or somewhere close to Gastonia. So she'd been able to help pick up the boys and take care of them while she went to work there at a restaurant. So things are working out in her favor, and hopefully soon she will be under the care of this program where they help her and be able to pay some of the bills for her till she can get on her feet and get a job and go to work and support. That's all she wants to do, is be able to change her life, get her life back where she can be a mother to those boys and give them a better life than she had. So you have been very gracious. Many of you have very gracious, and I really appreciate it so very much. We didn't know what we were going to do there for a long time because we couldn't find anything. So I did call a motel, and they said, yes, we can make arrangements to have a indefinite stay, and we'll look after her, make sure everything's okay. And they've done that. They've been very gracious. I won't mention the name of the motel. Her identity still remains to be anonymous. We don't need to share all that information. But I wanted you to know that thanks to you and your generosity and your love for people, we've been able to help this young lady get on her feet. And she's almost on her feet now, not quite, but almost. And she is so very thankful. She has, I visited with her yesterday, renewed the room again for another 2 weeks with the money that had come in. She said, I want to do something. I want to thank your radio audience for what they've done. I said, well, let's wait till you get on your feet for sure and get where you're going with this new opportunity. Then we'll work on something. But they don't want thanks. They just want you to get a life back. And she said, I want that so bad. But anyway, I want to share that because of the story of the minister that took on this girl at the Waffle House and helped her, and people just came together and helped support others. And that's what we're all about in this community. That's what we're all about in America. There are many, many folks we don't hear on the news that do those kind of things for people. There are many people that pay it forward all the time, even in the line at the McDonald's or Hardee's or wherever you are. You pay it in line, pay it forward, and I think that's great that you do that. It's not, maybe bill's not very much, but at least you have enough foresight to do those kind of things because you feel good about it, and it's on your heart to do it. So let's continue doing those kind of things. Pay it forward as often as we can, and do those kind of things to help people recognize that we are a God-loving people, we're a God-loving country, and our community is such that we get rally behind people that are down on their luck, as this young lady has been down on her luck since she was 14, I believe she said, and has two boys, and 7 and 11, I believe it is. And it's a long story, and no need to get into the details of where the dads are. One of them was killed or died in a wreck, I believe, before the oldest boy was even born. So the oldest boy never knew his dad, and the other one was another story of losing his green card, had to go back to his country. So anyway, it's a long story. One of these days, maybe we can write a book on that. But right now, let's just continue to offer our love and prayers to this young lady, and we'll keep working with her and helping her to get on her feet where she can have the life that she really would like to have. All right, it's 8:40, and I'll be back in just a moment.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continuing to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith's Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith's Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591. And Smith's Drugs has the Moderna and Pfizer initial shots and the boosters. They also have the flu vaccines at Smith's Drugs of Forest City.
Well, many of us were aghast last year on this date when we saw what happening in Washington. And the Democrat members of the House and Senate trying to make a really, really big deal out of it. Of course, everything's Donald Trump's fault. And he tried his best, anticipating something like that was going to happen, try to get them to call out the National Guard to make sure things were smooth running. They refused to do that. So it got out of hand. But Democrats, the exploitation of January 6th gives away their game. Ben Shapiro, many of you know that name. He's the host of the Ben Shapiro Show and editor emeritus of the Daily Wire. He's a graduate of UCLA and Harvard Law School. He's a New York Times best-selling author whose latest book is The Authoritarian Moment, How the Left Weaponized America's Institutions Against Dissent. And today we'll commemorate with all the ballyhoo and rigmarole Democrats and their media allies can muster. They'll have hearings, and probably CNN, MSNBC, all those will be doing minute-by-minute coverage of whatever takes place. CNN plans an entire special around the anniversary titled Live from the Capitol, January 6th, 1 year later. The show will feature the heroes who protected our democracy in the face of an insurrection, and will include interviews with such luminaries as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and January 6th Committee Chair Benny Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are also expected to commemorate January 6th with special remarks, and Pelosi has organized a bevy of events in memory of the riot. Now, you might ask yourself, why January 6th merits such outsized attention? One need not downplay the events. The horrifying image of rioters bashing police officers with metal poles, storming through the halls of Congress, shouting for then Vice President Mike Pence in order to recognize January 6th for what it was, an ugly but not pivotal moment in American history. The event resulted in one death, as you recall. Rioter Ashley Babbitt was shot by a Capitol police officer, and some $1.5 million in property damage to the Capitol building. It's terrible. The Capitol was cleared within hours of the riot, and Pence and then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell promptly presided over the certification of the 2020 election. Those who broke into the Capitol, even trespassed, have ended up in jail. Meanwhile, by contrast, the Black Lives Matter riots of 2020 resulted in $2 billion in insured property damage, and likely billions more in uninsured property damage. 24 people died, and the resultant political movement against the police led to an unprecedented nationwide spike in homicides in major cities. Now, that's a major story, folks. Today, there have been no commemorations from CNN, no speeches from Biden or Harris, no day honoring the police officer who held rioters in check. So what lies behind the Democratic media obsession with January 6th? Political opportunism. According to Ben Shapiro, Democrats aren't even hiding the ball. Facing the ever likelier prospect of a 2022 midterm wipeout, Democrats have hit on a strategy. They have to rig the electoral rules and overthrow traditional Democratic institutions in order to stop Republicans from rigging the electoral rules and overthrowing traditional Democratic institutions. January 6th, to opportunistic Democrats, is the all-purpose excuse to use the entire weight of their party to push for radical revision of Senate rules in federal elections. They're making something out of something that's not there. As Politico reported last week, Democrats are hoping that Thursday, today, will be more than just a day of remembrance. In the Senate, we hear from well-positioned sources there's a desire to take the opportunity to supercharge the party's long-stalled voting rights legislation, possibly even using the anniversary to try to get Senators Kristen Sinema, Democrat from Arizona, and Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, to go nuclear on the filibuster or embrace rules changes. Well, I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't think this dog and pony show they're putting together today is going to change their mind any. The electoral village must be burned in order to stop future events similar to January 6th, as the New York Times editorialized. Every day is January 6th now, arguing the Capitol riot continues in state houses across the country in a bloodless, legalized form that no police officer can arrest and that no prosecutor can try in court, end quote. Perhaps the Democrats can read the writing on the wall. They know that November 2022 cometh, and that cometh real soon. And they hope that if they invoke the specter of January 6th repeatedly, Americans will shrug and allow them to usurp authority, violate rules, and rewrite voting procedures. Well, it won't work. I don't think it'll work. Most sensible thinking people don't think it'll work. But it should reveal to the Americans just who Democrats are and how little they actually care about January 6th in the first place. It's something, they're trying to make something out of it to keep people stirred up. But nothing is being done about all the violence that the liberals want to take place because they want to defund the police, or they don't want to charge people now. The DA, the Attorney General, or the DA, with one or the other in New York, has promised now that he will not prosecute cases that have to do with jumping over the rails at the subway to not pay your ticket. You can just do that and get away with it. They're not going to charge prostitution anymore. Do all you want, get on the streets. You know, Giuliani cleaned those streets up in New York when he was mayor, but it's been terrible. It's like a cesspool up there in the past few years. But anyway, they have any number of things that you can do now on the streets of New York City and never be arrested for. What's that going to do with the cost of the running the subways in New York City if everybody jumps over the rails and don't buy the ticket? How they're going to continue running. But it doesn't seem to matter to the liberal folks who think liberal in their decision-making process. It's a strange world we live in. Strange world we live in. But we are destined, as long as I have breath in my chest, a voice to talk about it, I'm going to continue waving that flag of Americanism and what it is to be American, and how the Constitution is valid, and how the Judeo-Christian values are valid, and how we should fight for that cause and shun every opportunity that we can to fall into the cesspool of all this divulging of stuff that the Democrats are trying to do today. January 6th a year ago was terrible. It should never have happened. But they're trying to make a big deal out of it. All those police officers that were killed with Black Lives Matter, and all those businesses that were destroyed because of Black Lives Matters, they're getting nothing, no punishment. And here we are. Here we are. Is it any wonder that folks are leaving the Democrat Party in droves because they're embarrassed by what they're doing in Washington, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the Chuck Schumer's of the world. The Democrats who think logically are embarrassed by that. They're embarrassed by their party's platform, killing babies at will. Whatever the case happens to be, they want done, liberally speaking. The people who think with their minds are not buying it. That's why there's going to be a great sweep in 2024, 2022. All right. Enough of that. A lot of other things I could talk about today, but I'll be back hopefully bright and early tomorrow. We have one more day this week for the morning wake-up call with Jim, and I'll be back to do that right. I'm going to get out of here in just a moment, take a little break, and get ready for My Great America with Jim and Butch. And Butch can calm me down when he gets in here, make me settle down this morning. It's 8:50. Hear these words. Compassion, commitment, and professionalism. These are the qualities family members need at a time of sorrow. That's why families in Rutherford County turn to Harrelson Funeral Home. The professional staff at Harrelson Funeral Home in Forest City understands your sadness, your loneliness, and your need for guidance. You'll know when you turn to Harrelson Funeral Home that your deepest concerns will be felt. You need someone to listen and guide you through the process of planning a funeral. That's why you need Harrelson Funeral Home. To make it easier on you at that difficult time, plan early for services you'll want for your loved ones. Call Harrelson Funeral Home today. That phone number is 657-6383. See why Harrelson Funeral Home is the choice for you. 1251 Highway 221A, Forest City.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
Although the numbers seem to be up in terms of the cases of the virus, so this new trend is coming out, the numbers seem to be up according to what they're reporting, and South Carolina is part of that upswing, but the governor down there has said he is not going to close things down. State health officials and the governor are urging South Carolinians to take steps to protect themselves and their families. What he's saying, in other words, is use common sense. If you're uncomfortable in going to that party, don't go. If you're uncomfortable going to the grocery store, don't go. State epidemiologist Dr. Linda Bell with the Department of Health and Environmental Control said the Omicron variant appears to cause milder infection, but vaccination, mask wearing, and physical distancing is needed to slow the spread of the virus. Well, Dr. Bell said it is our public health duty to raise alerts for people to do more to help reduce disease spread, and I hope no one will say raising concern about an average of 81 lives lost in the last few weeks is an overreaction. Dr. Bell and the governor encouraged people to get tested for COVID-19 if they believe they have it or were exposed. They urged people to avoid going to the emergency room to get tested. They said that there are more than 300 testing sites across the state you can go to. And I'm saying don't panic, don't be afraid to live your life. Governor Henry McMaster in South Carolina said his message to South Carolinians is to not panic as we go through this surge. We're now in a very different situation than we faced a year ago or longer. The governor said there is plenty of vaccine available in South Carolina and testing sites. He said he has no plans to shut down the state or issue a state of emergency. We're not going to close schools. We haven't, and we will not close businesses. We will not impose mandates for face masks, vaccines, or anything else to deal with this. As opposed to the kind of governor we have in North Carolina that's running in fear and has to listen to whatever they're telling him in Washington to do, and that's what he does. You know, interesting sign. I said I was going to hush. Interesting sign. You know, on our post office down here in Rutherford, they signed mask required, even if you've had 3 vaccines. Now, what's the purpose of the mask if you've had the 3 vaccines? If the vaccines are working, if you've had 3 vaccines, what's the purpose? But, you know, why the masks, they're mandatory in the post office, they say, even if you've had all the shots. So go figure. What is the effectiveness of any of it? If it's not working, use common sense. That's what I'm saying, folks. Use common sense. Anyway, thanks for letting me rant off this morning. I appreciate the phone calls this morning. It means a lot to me to hear your comments, and it makes me feel good. I appreciate it very much. Now, gonna have a little interlude of classic oldies, and I'll be back right up at 9:05 with my Great America with Jim and Butch. Stand by.
Over a half century of family-friendly broadcasting. This is WCAB AM.
Get your message to the thousands. Call the WCAB Sales Department today at 287-3356.
Excerpts released by the White House. Mr. Biden asks Americans, what kind of a nation are we going to be that accepts political violence as a norm? He says the way forward is to recognize the truth and to live by it.
Speeches, a moment of silence, and other events are taking place at the Capitol today to mark the one-year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. But it will be Democratic lawmakers who are attending and speaking. Nearly 36 Republican senators will be in Georgia for the funeral of their late colleague, Senator Johnny Isakson. While some Republicans told ABC it's important to recognize January 6th as a solemn day that should not be repeated, others said Democrats are politicizing the anniversary. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
New ABC News Ipsos poll finds in the years since the insurrection, skepticism. ABC's Terry Moran.
Just 20% of Americans say that they are very confident in the U.S. election system. Just 30% of Democrats, just 13% of Republicans. Those numbers suggest something seriously wrong. We're losing faith in our own democracy.
No school again today in Chicago, the city negotiating COVID protocols with the teachers union. This as the Centers for Disease Control signs off on Pfizer booster shots for 12 to 15-year-olds. California extending its indoor mask mandate into mid-February to try to stop coronavirus cases from overwhelming hospitals. Top state health official Dr. Mark Ghaly.
In California, we have admitted more patients on a day-to-day basis over the last few days than we did even at the peak of last winter's surge.
Russian officials say Russian paratroopers have landed in Kazakhstan where deadly protests have been going on. The weekly report on first-time filings for unemployment benefits from the Labor Department covering last week shows 207,000. That's up a little from previous weeks. You're listening to ABC News.
This is Matt Crowder live at the Shell station on 41st Street, reporting on the free gas app called Get Upside. That's letting people all over the country earn cash back on every gallon of gas they buy. Excuse me, miss. Have you heard of the Get Upside gas app?
Of course. People are earning as much as $300 a year with the Get Upside app. It's so easy. Open the app to see nearby gas stations offering money back, pick the one you want, and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside gas app and earn up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder, Radio News Network.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to earn up to 25 cents a gallon cash back when you buy gas. Use promo code TODAY for a 50 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 75 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Get up to 75 cents a gallon cash back on your next fill-up when you download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TODAY. Promo code TODAY.
Philadelphia in mourning after a fire in a public housing row home killed 12 people, including 8 children. ABC's Trevor Alt is there.
Investigators are now working to figure out the cause here. One avenue they're exploring is whether this was potentially sparked by a Christmas tree fire, and there's many questions about those smoke detectors. The housing authority says during an inspection back in May, they were working.
Italy again wrestling with skyrocketing COVID infections, set to put strong vaccine requirements in place. ABC's Megan Williams has a story from Rome.
The new regulations set to go into effect next month will be among the strictest in Europe, requiring everyone in the workforce over the age of 50 to be fully vaccinated. Since October, workers who are not vaccinated have had to show a recent negative COVID test. But with daily deaths reaching the highest levels since spring 2020 and hospitalizations surging, Italy is moving to prevent its public health care system from being overwhelmed. Prime Minister Mario Draghi says the focus is on over 50s as they're the most at risk of hospitalization. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
America's trade deficit with the rest of the world soaring. New federal numbers show it jumped to just over $80 billion in November, almost a record. That's up more than 19% compared to the month before. And 2 winning tickets in last night's $632 million Powerball lottery. One sold in Wisconsin, the other in California. This is ABC News.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Hello and happy Thursday. For the day ahead, we'll see a partly cloudy sky this afternoon, staying mainly dry, but then some rain showers move in later on this evening and especially into the early overnight hours. Our highs today staying in the 50s. We start dry and stay dry for Friday. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s to low 30s Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny sky with highs in the upper 30s and low 40s, staying just as chilly on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
The sun has come out, and now it is 43 degrees. Once that sun hits us, it's going to be warming up nicely to about 51 with some clouds peeking out once in a while. Northwest wind to 7 miles per hour with gusts up to 12 miles per hour. But let's enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm glad you're part of this audience. It's 5 minutes after 9.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Good morning, Butch.
Good morning, Jim. You know what? I was sitting out there listening to you this morning, and you really have these sort of, not ups and downs, but modulations that happen. It depends on what piece of news that you're looking at. But through it all, there's a consistent kind of, hey, folks, let's stay positive. Let's continue to look at the upside of things. And, of course, we know that if we anchor our hope in Jesus and the unshakable Word of God, we know that whatever happens is not going to buffet us. Okay. And, I was reading this morning, and by the way, I've got a little bit of a throat thing that's going on.
Allergies?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's an attack, We know that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but it's not going to discourage me this morning because there's so much that's so good that's going on. But as we look at the news and we look at what's happening in the world around us, I was reminded again, we shouldn't think it's strange when these things are happening because as it says in 2 Timothy 3, verse 1, but understand this, that in the last days, and think of the description here in light of what you read in your news feed, what you hear at the water fountain, what you hear in your church, your community, but understand this, that in the last days, dangerous times of great stress and trouble will come. Difficult days that will be hard to bear. For people, Jim, will be lovers of self, narcissistic, self-focused, lovers of money, impelled by greed, boastful, arrogant, revelers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, and profane. And they will be unloving, devoid of natural human affection, calloused and inhumane, irreconcilable, malicious gossips, devoid of self-control, intemperate, immoral, brutal, haters of good, traitors, reckless, conceited, lovers of sensual pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of godliness, religion, although they have denied its power, for their conduct nullifies their claim of faith.
Wow, that's pretty contemporary, isn't it?
You know what? The best writers at the New York Times or the conservative journals or any of the news organizations cannot have more prescient and insightful and apt description of the day and age that we live in than what we found out of the book 2 Timothy.
That's what it is.
That's a couple thousand years ago. And so we need to remember that whenever you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you are punching at air and you can't discern what's ahead, don't forget the reality that God's Word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Every word is infallible. Every word is God's Word. And the only way we're going to find the headlights that we need to pierce through the darkness is for us to recognize true truth is only found in God's Word and the inspiration that we'll find through a personal relationship with Him. That is my anchor each and every day.
When people say the Bible is not relevant today, there's so many things that ought to be excluded out of the Bible. They don't know, they haven't read the current times. They don't read what's happening right now because it is very relevant. You just read what's happening right now.
Right, and for I'm just going to say this, for everyone that says, oh, the Bible is boring and I just can't read it and there's nothing interesting that's there. If someone were to get on an infomercial and come up with a self-help program where they would say, we have a time-tested way for you, and lots of testimonials and confirmations, a time-tested way for you to navigate every circumstance in your life. If it came in a bottle, people would buy it. Mm-hmm. If it came in a series of DVDs in a self-help kind of way, people would buy it by the millions. God's Word is there waiting for you to find Jesus worth the knowing. And I promise you, if you come with a humble heart and an open spirit and say, Jesus, would you show me how you want to change my life? He'll do it. You're looking at a living, breathing example of what God can do and continues to do. And it has to be with a sense of humility. Hey, God, I need to change.
He's a constant companion.
He's a constant companion. And you know, Jim, speaking of that, we got to the end. I was a little disappointed. I got to the end of my Swedish great-grandfather's journal. This was for December 1898. And I was disappointed because I don't know where January is. I don't know what his next journal was. And so I was searching through his journal, wondering if there was any posting for January 1899. And all I found were white pages, white pages, white pages, white pages. And right at the very end of this tattered book that I'm so grateful I rescued during my mother's move up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I found only one posting for January of 1899. And here's what it was. It was the lyrics to the Old Rugged Cross. And for January 1899, January 1st, 1899, he amplified, put exclamation points next to the chorus. So, I'll cherish the Old Rugged Cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the Old Rugged Cross and exchange it someday for a crown. You know, he penned that in January of 1899. A great-grandson was able to find that and read it, and it just is so powerful to me, Jim.
You got a treasure there. That's a real treasure.
Right. And of course, that's a hymn that's been sung through the ages in churches of every denomination. And when you think of it, life is so very short, and what we do with our time, I often say it, our time, our talent, our treasure matters for eternity. You know, Jim, I know you give it a lot of attention to this. It's a stain, it's a hurt, it's a wound on the county, what happened to Master Trooper John Horton.
It is, yes.
And, of course, the other victim that was there. And our church took time to pray last night. Word of Faith Fellowship, like many churches, we pray strong, we pray with authority. I had lunch yesterday, by the way, with Ted Bell. You know, people ask me, Butch, how do you decide who to have lunch with? And how do you decide who to get with? And, you know, you talk to, in one day, I talked to David Wheeler, talked to Pat Jobe, had lunch with Ted Bell, reached out to Tony Roberson saying, brother, can we please have a meeting? We don't need to conduct untruth out there in the marketplace the way that you're doing. And people will say to me, how do you decide who you're going to get with? And it's real simple. Jesus, what do you want me to do today? I don't have some agenda with any of these things. And I'll just say this real quickly. I have found that it works much better for me to make principled decisions guided by what God wants. If I go to the source, and I don't rely on a lot of other people to tell me, hey, this is what Theo's like. Oh, he's from Florida. He doesn't know our county. Or this is what Chris Francis is like. Let me tell you about Chris Francis. Or this is what Ted Bell is like. Or this is what Corinne Evans is like. I don't want to hear it from other people. And so I pick up the phone and say, hey, can we get together? Mm-hmm. And so yesterday I had lunch with Ted Bell, and we've been talking about the possibility of getting together. And I said to him yesterday what I'll say here. I don't know who I'm voting for, but I know this. I'm not going to be negative about anybody. because that's not the way that God's called us to live. Now, we can have principles, and we can have disagreements, and we can have arguments, and we can offer our case, but it needs to be done confined and restrained by the way God expects us to act. And so when I say, or my pastor says, or our church says, for example, we love everyone, that means we love everyone. I can know, Jim, that something is wrong in my heart. This is Butch speaking. I know something is wrong in my heart if when I look at the dashboard of my life, if I'm finding myself having a hard time loving everyone, something's wrong. I've cut off God somewhere. And it doesn't mean I love what they do. It doesn't mean I don't have convictions about my life. But if I'm not a glowing flame of God's love wherever I go, there's something wrong with Butch. So I had a good lunch yesterday with Ted. We sat and talked about the county, talked about his perspective on things. I offered some insight on things, and I'm going to plan to do that with every one of the candidates, Jim, just as I know you do. For so long, you've had an open mic that you've offered to legitimate candidates to come in and tell about their story and what they plan to do, and I respect that immensely.
Well, I respect somebody who's willing to sit down and talk with them and ask serious questions and find out serious answers rather than all the stuff that goes through Facebook and all the rumors and innuendos. Most of them aren't true. So it's better to face. Hey, tell me what this is all about. What do you like? Tell me what you hope to do. I want to do that with these candidates, and when I have them come in here with their interviews, I will do that. It's primary's closed, and it's never a got you kind of interview. It's a get acquainted with them, let folks know who they are and what they stand for, and that's the best way to go and get the facts about them. And we do that. We've been doing that for years, and we'll do that continuing.
And you know what, Jim? I think that's one of the enduring, ongoing legacies, year-to-year legacies of WCAB. And of course, the hope is, in conversations that I've had here recently, including with Hal. By the way, he loved Hal Weatherman.
Oh, yes.
Loved the time.
What a great guy.
He posted on his Facebook page a little picture, a selfie of the three of us, and he made it a point to tell me, I just loved that it was like a local community radio station. Yeah. And I said, well, that's exactly what it is. So he's going to come back. He's already working on the possibility of having Madison Cawthorn come here.
Good.
Now, we know we're on the front edges. I picked this up from a couple of different places. There's some rumors that are already out there that the primaries could end up being backed up as far as September.
Wow.
And here's the reason why. I guess, according to the Constitution in North Carolina, it's the General Assembly that has the ultimate authority to make decisions about the districting that takes place. We have this case in the courts. There were 3 entities that filed suit. They're going to fast track that to North Carolina Supreme Court, but with appeals and everything else that are taking place, I've had a couple of sources tell me it's not beyond the realm of possibility, nor is it beyond precedent in North Carolina electoral history that we could be seeing something that moves past May and closer to September. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen that way, but it may, and we'll be ready for it when it does.
Well, and you know what? Here's the other thing that we need to know. Madison Cawthorn's decision to run outside of the district that he's in, a lot of people have looked at that. There are even some Republicans that aren't real happy about that, because there were some people, including some people in powerful places, that were going to run for that seat, and they're actually people in a position to influence, after things go to the General Assembly, what takes place next. And if you follow North Carolina politics, without me mentioning names, it's pretty clear who I'm talking about. So we don't know how all of this is going to factor, but what we do know, and I picked this up from a couple of places as well, Jim, is that Madison's thinking was, you know what, I think the old District 11 that Michelle Woodhouse is running in, right? And which will, in all likelihood, it's very likely she'll get a Trump endorsement. He believes that she can win in that district potentially, and if he can win in another district, that's +2 on the congressional side. And there are a lot of people in Washington that are anticipating who might the next Speaker of the House be if there's a Republican revolution that takes place in the midterm. So every congressional seat matters. So here's what we know. We know that there's no right way to do the wrong thing. truth is all we want, and the best way to get truth is to go directly to the source. That's been my experience.
And it will continue, I hope. You're going to talk with some other folks, I hope.
Right, yes, and I'll go ahead and say this. There's no agenda except to hear things, the phrase is used from the horse's mouth, to hear things from a person. Because you know what, I remember from all the communication studies that I did through the years, about 70% of communication is nonverbal. It's nonverbal. It's seeing the smile. It's watching the person, looking in their eyes. My Israeli friends call it a four eyes meeting. They would say to me, Booch, we need a four eyes meeting. And what they meant by that was, let's not text, let's not Zoom, let's not have a phone call. Let's sit and look across from each other. And Jim, it's old school, just like it is to read a newspaper. Sure. I went into, we're going to talk about the Scotchman, BP, down there on Washington Street. We got something exciting to share. I went in there this morning to get a newspaper, and a guy that looked about my age looked at me and said, "You still read a newspaper?" And it wasn't a shaming comment, but you know what? I do, and there's something about holding a newspaper.
I agree.
And the crackle of it, and we're aging ourselves. I'm aging us by saying this, but there's something about getting to know people face to face. Getting to know the news for yourself. I don't want somebody to tell me what an item on the menu tastes like for me to recommend it to other people. I want to order it myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay, and speaking of menus, I'm working on losing some weight, and I told you the angle of the YouTube camera here, when I walk in, I can't see anything except from kind of my shoulders down. So I'm getting a midriff pooch report to myself every time I walk in here, Jim.
Yeah, I understand. I see it to myself, but let's change the subject off of that.
Okay, well, while we're on the subject of food, I am going to say something. We've got to make sure going into the new year, and I'll purpose to do that as part of the WCAB family, we have got to make sure we don't start to collect things that become almost archaeology later on. These, I think, have been there for weeks. They're hush puppies.
Yes.
From, I think, something we had a while ago. So I'm going to throw those away today. And there's some other items. There are some other items in the refrigerator that probably need to go. I don't want to overstep my authority or exercise any what we call false authority. But there's some things in that refrigerator that need to go.
Don't throw those M&Ms away back there.
Okay.
Don't throw those away.
Okay. Well, I'm really convicted not to take sugar these days. But well, Jim, let me just mention that there is a website that chronicles the number of law enforcement officers that die each year, and it's I think it's fallenofficers.com. And in 2021, it looked like there were about 450 of various things, getting hit during traffic stops, shot. There were a number of people that died of COVID-related illnesses. And we had another reminder here in the county that every time somebody puts on a uniform, particularly against the backdrop of so much anger and organized angst against the blue, against people that are in law enforcement, and with the recognition that there are failures and misjudgments, and people are people, and there's some terrible things that have taken place. But the balance of the story is that you have people that are overstretched, overtapped, frequently underpaid, who suit up and show up every single day.
Yes.
In ways that we need to acknowledge and appreciate. And you've always had a heart for law enforcement, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that our party takes on this honor of the police officers and have a breakfast for them periodically just to show our appreciation for what they do. And the first responders need to be recognized as well. These firefighters jump on these trucks and go to a fire to save people's lives. We have story after story where that's happening. And right here in Rutherford, we got some of the best teams in terms of firefighters and police officers, even our state troopers. They're a great professional team. And when people start criticizing them and cutting them down, oh, they should have done this, they should have done, they need to look at the whole story and recognize they were there for you. They were there for you. Maybe not on your timetable, but they were there as best they could be there.
Right, and it's so easy to take for granted your first responders, your frontline nurses, your doctors. I've got a dear friend who I attend church with, who's a doctor up in Spruce Pine, and I regularly try to check in with him. I mean, we can take for granted that you got people. I mean, some people read about COVID. You've got other people who live COVID every single day, fighting for the lives of people. You've got teachers, you've got chaplains, you've got folks that are on the front lines of making our community better. And it's very simple. People sometimes say, Butch, what can I do? When you see somebody, you're at a Walmart retail store, and they've got a cap on that shows that they had military service, it takes nothing except you getting out of yourself enough to walk over and say, thank you for your service.
Yes.
You have no idea what those encouragements can do for people. When you see an officer, to go up to them and say, I appreciate what you're doing, you have no idea that may be the encouragement that they need. Pastors, some of the toughest responsibilities, excuse me, that people have out there are people that lead a house of worship.
Yes.
If they take being a pastor seriously, like my pastor does, it means that you never know any given day what the devil's been up to. You have people in hospitals, people with marital distresses, you've got children that are dealing with issues at school, and real pastors step into the gap. And it's inconvenient, it's often unscheduled, and many times it's being willing with God's authority to step into unpleasant places. I tell people often, in an unsolicited way, I'm grateful that after all these years, having gone to a salad bar of different denominational expressions, I was a Methodist, I was a Southern Baptist, I was a charismatic, independent charismatic, I was an Anglican, I was becoming a Catholic, Franciscan Catholic priest. I have sampled from all the different theological dainties and have no desire or hunger in my spirit for any of that anymore. What I want is truth, and what I want is to change. And you only find truth and you only change in an environment where you have people that are willing to say, hey, Butch, that didn't sound right. Mm-hmm. Hey, Butch, you know what? Here's a better way. Here's what God says. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I have cried for in my heart and found here right in Rutherford County, Jim. And you know what? You're a part of that, too. You're part of a family that God's, a virtual family here in the county that God's using to change my life.
You mentioned pastors. Let me relate one quick story. I grew up in a pastor's home, of course, and I saw many times my dad get up from a dinner table because he got a call that someone was rushed to the hospital. He'd get up from dinner table, go to them.
Right.
Without finishing dinner.
Right.
So the pastors do that all the time. Now, the older pastors, of course, more prone to do those kind of things than some of the newer pastors, but not being critical of them. But they were taught back in the early days that your parishioners were very important to you, to look after them in sickness and in health. And my dad did that many times. And we had many meals without him sitting around the table because he was somebody.
Right, because they took that responsibility so seriously. And you know what? It used to be doctors were the same way.
Yes.
Dr. Guevara kept me alive when I lived in Laplace, Louisiana, because he would come and give me the shots that I needed when I was dying as a young boy of pneumonia. So pastors and doctors and others, it's all about getting out of ourselves and making sure that we remember we are our brothers and sisters' keepers.
Yes.
And it's all about laying down our lives for our friends. Now, Jim, I want to also, as we end here shortly, we've got a very exciting announcement to make, preceded by a disappointing comment. I have told people throughout the county that the best, most affordable, freshest, cleanest coffee counter, all of that you'll find, is at the Scotchman Exxon. And I'm saying this not in a way that's negative, not in a way that's bad. I love WCAB. Todd just brought my phone in. Not in a way that's disparaging of anyone, but I have to tell you, I can't recommend that Exxon's coffee anymore. I can't.
Really?
No, they've had a broken cream machine for over a week. Nobody wants to fix it. And the coffee counter has been very untidy. So I did what the American system allows, which is what? Find another place to get your coffee. So I knew that Jen used to be the manager over at the Exxon, the Scotchman Exxon, right there off of Railroad Avenue. And I went down to the BP, this is on Washington, right there by Mi Pueblito.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Scotchman BP. They have got a phenomenally clean coffee counter. The urns are always full. It is just a precious place to get a morning cup of coffee. And because I said I was going to mention this on WCAB today, any listener that goes in today and uses the code word Butch will get a free cup of coffee, or if you don't drink coffee, a free fountain drink. It's 20 ounces. It's at the Scotchman BP at the bottom of the hill as you're going downtown, right around the corner from Mi Pueblito. Go in and say, Butch, WCAB, Butch, and you'll get a free cup of coffee all day long.
Wow, that's great.
Or a free Coca-Cola or whatever you may want all day long.
That's great. I like that.
You know what we call that?
What?
My Great America.
Good to see you. We'll be back next week.
All right. See you, Jim.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
Hello and happy Thursday for the